Thank you for joining us on our 5th annual Alabama Goes to College Celebration Day. A few housekeeping requests before we start. Please keep your microphones on mute at all times to avoid feedback while speakers are speaking. This webinar will be recorded and posted to youtube.com/Alabama Possible. So you can access this after it is posted. You can submit questions throughout the webinar using the chat feature. Please make sure you put your questions on there, and the presenters will come back to it after they present. So now I invite the Executive Director of Alabama Possible, Chandra Scott. Chandra, all yours.
First, good morning to everyone, and just congratulations on us coming together to celebrate something. It's been such a rough year, and so it just feels great to come together for something so positive and exciting. So welcome everyone to the 2021 Alabama Goes to College Celebration Day and Professional Development Workshop. I'm Chandra Scott, the Executive Director of Alabama Possible, where we're working to break barriers to prosperity through education, collaboration, and advocacy. I want to take this time to just pause and thank the Alabama Possible team for making this special day for our Alabama educators. Without them, this day would not be as successful as it is already. Through the Alabama Goes to College campaign, over 21,000 high school graduates have accessed over $59 million in free Pell Grant aid to pay for their education after high school. This includes technical and academic credentials, and this goes all to thanks to the educators like you who are on this event today. At this time, I do want to take a moment to extend a warm welcome to some special guests that we have today. We have Zach Wadlick, who's the Communications Director for Congressman Jerry Carl. We have Craig Kennedy, the District Field Representative for Congressman Robert Adderholt. We have Glenn Agnew, who's the board member of Alabama Possible and with AT&T. Beverly Cochran, who's with AmFirst Bank. If I have somehow avoided any other elected officials, board members, or supporters who are present today, please take this moment to unmute yourself and introduce yourself. Okay, I take the silence as I got everyone listed. So now it is my distinct honor to introduce our amazing Board of Directors Chair, Wendy Boyne. Wendy is the Government and Institutional Banking Executive for Regions Bank, but most importantly to me, she's a great leader for Alabama Possible. So at this moment, I turn it over to Wendy Boyne.
Thank you, Chandra. It is so great to be here with everybody. And on behalf of the entire board of Alabama Possible, I'm just so excited that you're here. This is a special day, as we know, and we want to celebrate and also enjoy the workshop. We really are here because of you, hardworking educators at high schools across the state who work to enhance this college-going culture that we want to create by assisting these students through the enrollment process. And I have a few numbers that I want to share with you this morning. Since kicking off the 2020 to 21 campaign last October, Cash for College and its partners have worked alongside 47,166 students and their families at over 350 schools to complete more than 23,000 FAFSAs. Think about the lives that have been touched. And everyone on this call today, you need to feel good knowing that you're making a difference in the lives of students across this entire state. I want to offer my sincere thank you for the work you've done and a big congratulations to each of the winners in the campaign today. Now I'm going to turn it back over to our program director, Manisha. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy, and thank you for welcoming all of us, and thank you for your welcome address. So next, I want to invite May Whiting, the Data and Research Manager of Alabama Possible, and Dr. Monica Mack, the Education Specialist, Counseling and Guidance Instructional Services at Alabama State Department of Education, to share with us a review of the year 2020-2021. All yours, May.
All right, hello everyone and good morning. Like Manisha said, my name is May Whiting and I am the Data and Research Manager at Alabama Possible. So I will be highlighting many of the accomplishments that happened throughout the 2020-2021 school year, especially related to our Alabama Goes to College campaign. And as I'm sure you're familiar, this campaign consists of 3 different components, and those components include the Alabama College Application Week, Cash for College, and then College and Career Decision Day. So we could not do this work without our partners at the Alabama State Department of Education, the Alabama Community College System, and the Alabama Commission on Higher Education. So thank you so much for being active supporters and collaborators in this work. And then we'd also like to thank the sponsors who have funded our programs throughout the last year. So we know that all of y'all work diligently all year long to promote a college-going culture, and we definitely want to celebrate your successes. So please don't forget to tag us on social media so that we can repost and celebrate all of your hard work. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AL Goes to College, and that's with the number 2. All right, so we're going to begin our year in review along with Dr. Mack from the Alabama State Department of Education. I'll be highlighting some numbers from each component of the Alabama Goes to College campaign. So during the 2020-2021 school year, we worked alongside 354 high schools in all 67 counties across Alabama. So that is an increase of 8 schools from the previous year. And those 354 schools served more than 47,100 high school seniors. So now I will turn it over to Dr. Mack to relay some numbers related to the Alabama College Application Week.
Good morning. So this year we were able to have 2 college application campaigns. We held one in October, and then we had a second one in the spring, which was held in February. So out of those campaigns, we had 75 colleges and universities in Alabama and surrounding states to participate in this initiative. We also had 220 high schools in Alabama to participate in our application week. So for the upcoming year, we plan to have 2 campaigns again. Our first one will be held in October, the week of October 18th through 22nd. And then we will have another one in the spring as well, date to be determined. So make sure that you all register. Registration materials will be emailed out in July.
Awesome. And then, oh, one moment. Okay, so as it relates to Cash for College, which is our initiative that focuses on the free application for federal student aid, 95% of school districts in our state have access to the Alabama Commission on Higher Education's student lookup portal. So you've probably heard a lot about it, but this tool is essential for tracking FAFSA completion progress, and specifically for your school's senior class. So by signing a use agreement with AID, high school educators have the ability to view and track student level FAFSA data. Having access to this tool really is a game changer when you're working to boost FAFSA completion. So we're very pleased that 95% of districts in our state have access, and we hope you're utilizing this tool.
And during the school year, we were able to provide a number of trainings to our counselors. We held our New School Counselor Academy. We had a career coach retreat, CUTA presentations, as well as our bite-sized PD. And out of those presentations, we had over 700 counselors and career coaches to participate. We also held the College and Career Decision Day workshop in April. And from that, we had over 100 counselors and career coaches to attend.
Awesome. So now I'm going to report out the state of FAFSA completion. So as of June 4th, 2021, more than 23,800 seniors across the state of Alabama completed a FAFSA, and close to 20,100 of those were from schools participating in the Cash for College campaign. So with statewide senior enrollment of 50,555 students, This means that 47.2% of high school seniors in Alabama completed a FAFSA. And while that is a decrease from last year's completion percentage, we have been seeing positive movement in the last few months, with Alabama even jumping up in the national rankings recently. So we are encouraged by that. But with that being said, a 47.2% completion rate in our state means that millions of dollars in free aid are forfeited annually, millions of dollars. So students who don't complete their FAFSA miss out on the largest source of financial aid to pay for post-secondary degrees and certificates. And as you can see on that first line, research estimates that 57.4% of students in Alabama qualify for a Pell Grant. And we emphasize Pell Grants because they are gift aid, meaning they don't need to be paid back. They can be used for both academic and technical education at 2-year or 4-year colleges and universities. And a full Pell Grant award currently equals $6,495. So students in Alabama may qualify for partial Pell Grants if they're not eligible for that full amount. But as I mentioned, this year with the completion rate being 47.2%, that means 52.8% of high school students in Alabama failed to complete the FAFSA, which translates to 26,702 students not completing their FAFSA. So about 15,327 of those students would probably have qualified for a Pell Grant. And so if we use the most recent data from the US Department of Education, the average Pell Award for a student in Alabama is around $4,307 per year. So this means over $66 million were left on the table this year when the class of 2021 did not complete a FAFSA. So a huge number and a big reason why we promote FAFSA completion in the Alabama Goes to College campaign. But the good news is that those who have completed their FAFSAs have leveraged an estimated $59 million in Pell Grant aid alone. And that aid will, of course, support the goals of over 26,000 students who applied to post-secondary education during our state's 2 college application weeks last year. So we want to spend a little bit of time now discussing why this work matters, why your efforts to build a college-going culture in your school and your community are so important. And as y'all have heard over and over from us, completing the FAFSA strongly correlates with positive post-secondary outcomes, including increases in enrollment, persistence, and attainment. As you can see on the screen, research shows that 92% of students who complete the FAFSA enroll in college the following fall, and that's compared to just 51% of FAFSA non-completers. So that is a huge difference, and it highlights that high school seniors who are completing the FAFSA are taking a critical step to pursue post-secondary ed. Unfortunately, what we know is that students who could benefit from financial aid the most are less likely to apply. So building a college-going campaign in your school that focuses on FAFSA completion as a key component will help to close equity gaps such as college enrollment and attainment gaps. Additionally, this work matters because as of 2018, only 45% of the Alabama workforce had a high-value credential beyond a high school diploma. So it's clear that Alabama has a large number of students not pursuing post-secondary ed. And Alabama needs to increase the number of students pursuing post-secondary education in order to compete for new industries and fill gaps left by retiring workers. So the goal is the Success Plus goal, which is an initiative of the governor's office. It aims to add as many as 500,000 highly skilled employees to the workforce by 2025. And if we achieve this, our post-secondary educational attainment rate would increase from that 45% that you see on the screen to 60%. So a huge increase and a lofty goal that we're really working towards. And our big takeaway from all of this is that to ensure we increase post-secondary educational attainment so that these students have these high-value credentials, we must encourage students to apply to college. We also have to ensure that they can afford college. So we have to build awareness around the FAFSA, and all of that is the work of the Alabama Goes to College campaign. And so as we're working towards this goal of adding 500,000 Alabamians with valuable credentials, we've learned from y'all about how to support students and families, especially during such an extraordinary time as this last year. So I'm going to share a few of the things that we've learned. We have learned the importance of setting goals and creating a timeline before the school year even begins. So of course, this past year, it required an element of flexibility as circumstances fluctuated because of the pandemic, but we hope that the Alabama Goes to College timeline that you see over there on the right of your screen kind of served as a nice launching point for the rest of your college going activities. And then secondly, building and leveraging strong community partnerships are incredibly valuable and necessary practices when doing this work. We know, of course, this is a team effort that requires alignment across many different types of stakeholders, and we consistently hear from y'all that you find lots of success and support when you partner with local colleges and institutions in your community. And then thirdly, another way of supporting a college-going culture is by incorporating college-related activities into the curriculum so that it's already tied to the content students are learning. We've heard from many of you that you have successful partnerships between counselors and career coaches and your 12th grade teachers. So there are lots of ways to do this, and we encourage you to check out our lesson plan in the Alabama Goes to College Educators Toolkit. We also learned that engaging families and parents is still a major challenge, a major hurdle. When we surveyed schools around the state in February and May, we consistently heard that reaching families was the biggest barrier to things like FAFSA completion. And we know it was especially difficult when considering the impact of the pandemic. But I think you'll notice when you hear from our award-winning educators who are going to present a little bit later, that overcoming that challenge really requires communication across multiple channels. So we're aiming to make information on post-secondary pathways as accessible as possible. And we hope that you'll utilize our email templates, our social media guides that will really support you in this communication and outreach work. And then lastly, we know the importance of utilizing data to track your progress and to celebrate your success with things like FAFSA completion. So we hope you'll utilize and access the many tools we have available to help educators stay on track throughout the school year. And we'll talk about a few of those tools in just a moment. But just to highlight some of the resources that are available through our campaign, our website, alabamagoestocollege.org, has a bunch of resources like the Educators Toolkit. It has a lot of assets for building a college-going culture. And our Educators Outreach Handbook is a great place to start if you're new to this campaign. So some of the assets that we include in our toolkit are things like social media guides, email and press release templates, and flyers and one-pagers that you can either post in your school or email out to families. All right, we also aim to support your continued professional development by hosting and facilitating webinars throughout the school year. So last year, we partnered with so many amazing organizations and institutions to bring 14 webinars and training opportunities on topics like college admissions and complicated FAFSA scenarios. And then, like I mentioned, some data tools that you have available, and I'm sure you've heard about from me quite often. We recognize the importance of data in both setting goals and then monitoring your progress throughout the year with FAFSA completion. So you can access our Cash for College data dashboard at alabamapossible.org/dashboard. This tool is updated weekly throughout the majority of the FAFSA cycle. So mostly from October 1 to the end of June. And it's a great way to see how your school overall is progressing. But we also have the Alabama Commission on Higher Education's FAFSA completion project. And this consists of a student lookup portal. So it is a way for you to access individual student level data. And as you can see in the screenshots with this portal, you're able to see the date the student submitted the FAFSA, whether they were selected for verification, and all kinds of details once you have a login. So we really highly recommend that you're utilizing both of these tools, both to see your school-wide progress as well as individual student progress. And then another resource that we would love to highlight is our Alabama Goes to College Educators Facebook group. We think that learning from your peers and communicating with your peers is a great way to enhance your college going initiatives. So please feel free to join this Facebook group. It's also a way to receive updates on our work, but again, just to converse with peers all around the state. So we hope you're taking advantage of these tools, and please feel free to join all of our different platforms next year for the annual Alabama Goes to College campaign.
All right, I have the pleasure of introducing our next presenter, Lisa King. She is the director of the American College Application Campaign, which is our national initiative. So I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Thank you, Dr. Mack. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm with the American College Application Campaign, as Monica just shared. If you want to go to the next slide, the campaign you all are a part of, you've been a part of it for quite a few years, actually. We work with all 50 states in DC and helping create a statewide campaign supporting students as they apply to college. If you want to click onto the next slide, you'll see that our key components as a campaign is helping the goal of increasing the number of students who are applying to college. We're particularly focused on trying to help students who may be the first in their family to go to college, students that are from families with economic challenges, and we try to get them all applying in the fall. So yours is in October. Many of our other states similarly have events that are in October, November. And we want to teach the students that this is the ideal time to be applying to college to maximize their opportunities for things like also completing the FAFSA and finding scholarships, and that will put them on a more successful track as they navigate the college going process. The other key element to AC all these years is that we often are in the school buildings, school day, school hours, getting our audience while they're captive and they don't have those barriers that may be stopping them, like after school jobs or taking care of their family, lack of transportation. Last year obviously was a challenging year with COVID when buildings weren't all open, or even if they were open, we maybe couldn't bring in the volunteers to support these events. So even though it was a challenging year, we saw great success in Alabama. I'm really proud of the work that this team has done, all of you, for still helping students apply to college and helping make it work in a challenging time. And we know this next year we'll still have some interesting challenges, even though maybe schools are more reopened. We may not be able to get folks like the volunteers and the colleges back in the building. So continue to be creative as you do this work. We love watching it. If you want to go to the next slide, just to see what you are a part of. In 2020, we had 5,600 host sites. These are the high schools across the country that participated, and they helped over 360,000 students apply to college. And as you can see, those students did just over 627,000 applications. So you are part of something quite bigger. We've been around since 2005, starting as just an application day, and hit the kind of nationwide point back in 2014. And since then have had this type of growth happening in all the states that we're very proud of. If you want to go to the next slide, you can see just what we've been able to do since that beginning in 2005 of reaching 3.69 million students, doing 5.99 million applications. So the key reason for a school that's doing this is that it helps, just as May shared, you're helping build that college going culture and supporting and celebrating all your students along every step of the college going process. We're reaching students earlier and getting them on the most successful track of what would be ideal for helping them apply and find that path for them. We're also taking the time to make sure they're doing the best match and fit so that they're actually getting time to look at what institutions are available to them that they may be interested in and narrowing down a list, and then having that space during the school day to say, okay, I'm going to apply to these institutions. And it helps take that stress and confusion out of the application process for our students. They have that channel of support to ask questions and to have somebody guiding them through an application that they haven't done before. So for the second time since our inception, we actually launched a School of Excellence Awards where we select one school from every state to receive this kind of high honor of excellence of a school that's demonstrating that they are committed to students completing the college going process, to their success, that they're building that college going culture, and really celebrating that application process. So we had 23 schools that ultimately were awarded this past year, and I'm excited to share, if you want to just actually skip to 2 slides down, to honor Ramsay High School as our 2020 winner here in Alabama. They have been just working together always with staff, family, parents, students, and helping create that culture and really lifting up the application process. And I know that we'll be hearing from them later from Dr. Tarver. So I will kind of pause there, but just want to also share that as you celebrate schools this year, we always look for things on social media, so make sure that as well. Please get on social media, use that #WhyApply hashtag to help encourage students about the application process. We like to see that happening in September, leading up to the months and the weeks that are actually these events, so we can encourage students to think about college, to be thinking about where they're going to ultimately apply and narrow down that list. And if you want to get connected with me after this, because I know we've got a lot to cover today, there is, if you go 2 slides down, and I believe you'll get the PowerPoint later, if you need to connect with me at all, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or that QR code will take you to our website and you can find my contact information. So Dr. Mack, thank you for letting me be here today. Dr. Tarver, can't wait to hear from you a little bit later.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And congratulations to Ramsay High School, Dr. Tarver. With our college application winners, we had 53 schools that accomplished the 100%. They had 100% of their seniors to complete a college application. So we are so excited for those schools. And again, congratulations to Ramsay High School, Dr. Tarver, and all of his staff. And Dr. Connor was able to actually go to Birmingham and present Dr. Tarver with this award during their senior awards day. So again, congratulations to you all. And then we have our participating high schools. Again, we had 220 schools to participate this year. We are excited about that, and we definitely want to increase this number going forward into our campaign for this year. And then we had 75 colleges and universities. Those would be 4-year and 2-year institutions in Alabama and surrounding states. And you can see the list here of all of our participating schools.
All right, so now we're going to shift on over to our Cash for College Awards. And we're really excited to celebrate our award winners today, but we also want to recognize that 51 schools were awarded our Best Hustle Award in 2020, so the first part of the school year. And we award the Best Hustle Award to schools that have improved their early FAFSA completion. So 51 schools achieved an improvement of 10% or more during the first 2 months of this year's FAFSA cycle when compared to the first 2 months of last year's FAFSA cycle. And so here are the 51 schools that won this award. And I will now turn it over to Manisha to present the end of year Cash for College Awards.
Thank you, May, and thank you, Dr. Mack, for your presentation. So we will move on to our next segment, which is really exciting. And I wish we had one of those drum rolls, which we could play on Zoom. So anyway, we will announce our Cash for College award winners and hear about their strategies and best practices. The most valuable winners are Ramsay High School among large-sized schools, Loveless Academic Magnet Program High School among medium-sized schools, and Sulligent High School among small-sized schools. So these are the winners who have completed the most students have completed the FAFSA. So the most improved winners are Spanish Fort High School among large-sized schools, West Limestone High School among medium-sized schools, and Genesis Innovative School among small-sized schools. So if we can go to the next slide, May. So now I would like to invite Dr. Stephen Tarver from Ramsay High School to share his strategies. As you heard before, Dr. Tarver's school is the winner of School of Excellence Award from American College Application Campaign and is also the winner of Cash for College MVP Award. So Dr. Tarver, all yours.
Thank you so much, Manisha. Good morning to everyone. Again, I'm Dr. Stephen Tarver. I'm the Senior Guidance Counselor here at Ramsay High School. On behalf of myself, my wonderful administration, Dr. Carolyn Russell Walker, and my guidance department team, Dr. Haley Claiborne Silman and Ms. Sonia Thompson, our 9th grade counselor. We welcome you and we just say thank you for this award and this recognition. So what we did, we were a little creative this year in the face of a pandemic. We did follow the college application week model. That's district-wide, and you see the dates right here before you. But what we did on October the 17th, I think it was, we had a virtual FAFSA, not virtual, we had an in-school FAFSA workshop. It was like a one-stop shop where we had different components, but the goal at the end of the day was to have students come in to complete their FAFSA. So if you go to the next slide, so this is what it looked like. We had the FAFSA completion in our computer lab. We had a voter registration table. We had College Prep U to assist students with the college application process. We had a scholarship table. The College Choice Foundation brought representatives, as well as the United States Air Force and the Army National Guard. And we also had our senior sponsor, Ms. Jacqueline Nixon. She had senior class information, so if students want to come in, to pay graduation fees. So everything was just a one-stop shop, but the goal was to complete the FAFSA. Okay, you can go to the next one. So again, we just mentioned like some of the people that were here during that day, and they were very, very awesome with us. Lawson State Community College brought representatives in to work in the computer lab to assist students and parents with the FAFSA. Jay Johnson, he's a great friend of our program. He's my right-hand guy. He's really, really instrumental. He represents College Prep U. He's very instrumental with the college application process. Also assisting with FAFSA. His organization does a great job with us. They've been a part of our program now for the last 4 years. Again, the U.S. Army Air Force spoke with scholars about possible military opportunities, as well as the National Guard, just to talk about what, hey, you know, if you go to college, use these places as a need for additional financial assistance. So it was very well attended and highly successful. If you go to the next slide, again, those were just some pictures from Lawson State Community College. They work with our students. And one thing I will say that we are just very blessed to be around some great scholars every year at Ramsay. So really getting them to complete the FAFSA was not a big challenge for us, because we understand here at Ramsay, college is the expectation. So when you get here in the 9th grade, we introduce them to the FAFSA process, and we add a little bit more to it every year from sophomore year to junior year. So by the time they reach their senior year, they are very much well-versed in FAFSA, the components, what it takes, and how it benefits them too, as well as the college application process. So all those things they already know. So I think Manisha mentioned like what strategies. They're really 90 strategies because again, we just have some great scholars here and great parents, and our faculty and staff even helps out during college application week. So they talk to students about the importance of FAFSA. They offer incentives for FAFSA completion. And you all know students love honor cards. I don't know about other schools, but here at Ramsay, they love to be recognized for their hard work. So what we did as an incentive this year, we gave them an honors card for FAFSA completion. So, and that really helped. Another strategy I will say I used, I would say around November, December, around the end of my day, around 3 o'clock, I would just look at the list from the State Department and just, hey, go on that website, find out the ones that have not completed FAFSA, and hey, I'll just call them, say, hey, have you complete your FAFSA? And believe it or not, that helped out a lot because it showed the student and the parent, well, hey, he cares enough about me to reach out to me and to make sure this process is done. So let me meet him halfway and get this done. So you can go to the next one. Again, we just mentioned the military. Those were some pictures from their station doing our FAFSA completion mixer. And you can go to the next slide. We also have the voter registration table. Actually, that was through some of our faculty and staff members. So they took time at this busy schedule that Saturday and to come up here and be with our scholars. And I really appreciate their efforts. And you can go to the last slide. We were asked to do a TikTok video from our school district. So if you would, you can.
In my class, there's some scholars in my class. I certified teacher, 5 days a week. Teach these scholars, make that job out there weak. Yeah. You getting taught by a good old teacher.
So when I tell you, hey, that's just another example. When I tell you our faculty and staff, they are all in. And as it comes to supporting our scholars, I hope the video speaks for itself. So, and hey, hopefully we'll have an encore for you next year. So again, thank you for this award and thank you for having us this morning. And anything I can do, yeah, you let me know, and my information's out there. And I just hope this helps someone.
Thank you, Dr. Tarver. Thank you. One of your main strategies, which I could see, was involving everybody in your school in FAFSA completion. So that is great to have everybody invested in it. Thank you. So next, before I invite our next presenter, I first want to read this congratulatory note from Congressman Barry Moore. Dear Loveless Academic Magnet Program High School, please allow me to congratulate you on being named as one of the top high schools in the state of Alabama for your free application for federal student aid FAFSA completion rate. Achieving such a high FAFSA rate is a true testament to your school and staff's hard work and dedication. I have no doubt that work you expended to achieve this designation will be of true value to your students in their future endeavors. When your students look back on their time in high school, I am sure they will remember the amazing educators, mentors, and advisors they had along the way. You are truly preparing the next generation of leaders, and the 2nd Congressional District of Alabama is blessed to have you serving your community. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me if I can be of service to you in the future, and best of luck with the school year ahead. Sincerely signed, Barry Moore, Member of Congress. So we will email this letter to you. And now Alicia Ruffin is going to present next on behalf of Loveless Academic Magnet Program High School.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us today. This is such an honor. Lamp High School has always had a college-going culture, but each year the senior class wants to outdo each other. And so we've been very successful in doing that. And some of the expectations that we have set, the students always want to know, why are we doing so? We like to set the expectations early. Students enjoy instant gratification. And so we want to make sure any questions that they have, that they thoroughly understand what the process is. So a lot of times they say, you know, what is the overall plan? What do you want us to get out of completing the FAFSA? Why are we doing this? Why are we participating? And a lot of times I let them know, and the counselors let them know, that it's a process. In order to be successful, as you see here, this Abraham Lincoln's quote, the best way to predict your future is to create one. And so our goal and strategy is to make sure that our students create their own future. And so with our faculty and staff, from our custodians to our lunchroom workers to parents, everybody has that culture of talking about going to college. What's next? How are you going to break those generational curses? How are you going to set the tone for those students that are coming behind you? And so a lot of students ask, when will this take place? And so we give them dates as when the FAFSA portal will be open, college application week, and things like that. So they'll have a general idea of how to start preparing and thinking consciously of what I need to do. Some of them may have jobs and things like that. So we want to make sure that they schedule the time around to make sure that they're available to participate in these different initiatives. Then they also ask, where can I complete the FAFSA? Of course, I tell them to complete it wherever they're most comfortable. Bring your family members in, bring your grandparents, your uncle, anybody that has an influence on your future or has been with you up until this point. You know, have a big celebration at your home. You can do it at the own comfort of your home where you feel comfortable completing the FAFSA, because this is a process and they have to make sure those loved ones that support them that are there. And of course, they can also do it at school, at the local library and things like that. So we want to make sure that they're comfortable when they fill out this process. And then they also want to know, how will this benefit me? This will allow them to obtain sustainable careers. Just like I said before, break those generational curses and also fill those skills gaps from our baby boomers that are retiring. So how can this particular class of students come in and take ownership and make sure that our global workforce is top notch and that those students can compete globally wherever they go? Next slide, please. So ready, set, go. So normally we really don't bother our ninth graders, because ninth grade is their first year of entering high school. So they're already nervous. They're already trying to figure out where to go, what processes are taking place. So we kind of mention it during different assemblies, but we really hone in on our 10th graders. We encourage students to do well on the pre-ACT. This is a foundation to let them know exactly what that test score may need to be when they actually do take the ACT. So in the 10th grade, they're kind of introduced to it early on, but then in the 11th grade, we offer early exposure for our colleges and universities. So we invite the colleges and universities to the schools early on so they can meet the students, any type of programs that we have going on at the school, whether it be a football, they don't have football, they have basketball, or maybe it may be a softball game or a baseball game or any school-related function. We invite those colleges and universities early on so they can see the next class of seniors that will potentially be applying for their college and university, so they can go ahead and start building that network, that foundation, and say, hey, I remember when you came to my softball game, and, you know, so on and so forth, and they get a chance to meet their families, not so much on an academic or, you know, real tight, you know, meet and greet, but more of a casual setting. And a lot of times the college representatives are able to really know who the students are and what scholarships and things like that will best benefit them at their college and universities. Next slide, please. All right, so then we come to the finish line. So 12th grade year, we encourage our students to complete the FAFSA early on. We already encourage them to already have everything in place. We already been speaking with the parents on several different occasions, bringing the parents in. So they're already on ready, set, go. And then they make it to the final, the finish line. So this year, our counselor, Miss Melinda Jackson, in her absence, she required all of our seniors to apply to at least 10 different schools. So of course, when she first said it, they was like, what, 10 different schools? And she was like, yes. She said, I want you all to apply to 10 different schools. And each of our students that did apply, all of our seniors class did receive at least one scholarship. Of course, a lot of them received more scholarship opportunities, but every one of our senior class did receive a scholarship. And then we also build a culture of striving for schools based on the student and not on the college or university popularity. So oftentimes we have students, you know, because their parents went to University of Alabama or Alabama State, the student automatically thinks that they should go in that pathway. But we also encourage the students to do what's most beneficial for them. I've also talked to students about, you know, if they receive a scholarship for a particular university that's $20,000, but then the parent has to come up with additional $10,000 to make sure they fulfill their dream, why put that pressure on your parents when you can go to a college or university where the tuition cost is a little bit less, but you can always, you know, when you want to get your master's or your doctorate degree, you can go to that particular college where, it'll be financed here on out instead of putting that pressure on your family. And so at Lamp High School, we really pride our faculty and staff on making sure that they embrace our students, make sure that our students are well-rounded, make sure that they're ready for the workforce and they can compete globally in society. And so I really thank Alabama Possible. I really thank the AIC Commission on Higher Education for really pushing this initiative. And we just like to thank everyone that's here today and participating. Next slide, please. All right, these are our team players, our principal, our marvelous principal, Matthew Munson. He's dynamic principal. Miss Melinda Jackson, she could not be here today. She's actually in Hawaii, so I was jealous. So I said I'll try to do her some justice by presenting today. And then myself, Miss Ruffin, I'm the career coach. And so we just want to thank you all for this opportunity and thank you for being here today. And this concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your strategies and your successes. Next, before I invite the next presenter, I would like to invite Craig Kennedy. He is the district field representative from Congressman Robert Aderholt's office to say a few words.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, congratulations to all of these schools and to your organization. What you do is so vital in preparing our young people and their families for the next step. And I love to hear that some of these schools are 100% FAFSA completed and hope that more schools join those ranks next year. I'm from a very, very small county public school in Northwest Alabama. And so I know how important stuff like this is. But we're here, or I'm here today to congratulate Sulligent High School in Lamar County in Congressman Aderholt's district. I do academy nominations for the congressman, and I, a few years ago, had a very special student from Sulligent and got to work with that principal real well, trying to get him into the next level. And so I got to know the school, and I know they're doing big things down there. And this is a huge honor for them. And we hope that they continue to push and you know, just do more and more as the years come. So with that, I will let the Sulligent representative speak, and thank y'all for having us here. Congressman Aderholt is in DC, or he would have loved to join the call. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig, for bringing a message from Congressman Aderholt's office. We appreciate your being here and, you know, kind of seeing the work that our counselors, the great work that our counselors and our schools are doing. Next, I would like to invite Kathy Dean to present the strategy she used to get her students at Sulligent High School to complete their FAFSA.
Well, I would like to say I know a perfect solution for that, but I know every school is different and every community is different, so you have to handle them a little differently. I'm kind of a data-driven person, so I plan my year out completely before I ever start. When I leave school, or when I did, I'm now retired, but when I left in June, I planned out my whole year to the next May. And so I begin in August. And the first thing that I do after, you know, those crazy schedule changes get done, I call the seniors in one at a time. And I'm able to have a conversation with them where we go over their credit checks and make sure everybody's on track for graduation. And then while they're sitting there, I go ahead and do the FAFSA ID and get that one thing out of the way so that in October 1st, all we have to do is concentrate on getting that FAFSA done. So next slide, please. So on October 1st, I go ahead and make arrangements with the local community college, which I work closely with Bevel State Community College. And they come in. This year we had to do it a little differently because I Zoomed her in. So she stayed on a Zoom from 8 to 3 o'clock while I brought the parents in and one-on-one moved that computer to each parent so they could talk with her to get that done. And then I helped, and my career coach helped work with those parents. And so we had one full day, and then I allowed parents to make appointments anytime that they wanted if I was available. We had to be very cautious. We checked their temperatures when they came in the building. So this year was a little more hectic trying to get the parents in, but we were able to do that. First thing we had to do was then work with the parents to create their FAFSA. And some of them already had children that had been in school. Of course, we all know they have to use that same FAFSA ID to complete all their FAFSAs for all their children. So sometimes parents forget what their ID is. So getting that is a major problem. And I try to convince them, put this in your cell phone notes. This is what I did for your student. If they'll put their name and their ID and their email that they used so that we can always get that, because they're going to need this information for every year going forward while they're in college. And then we work towards completing that FAFSA. Another reason I start on October 1st is so that when the data portals come available, then I've got a lot of data already there and I can kind of check to see which students have and have not. This is one of my lovely students, one of my little favorite, Miss Hawkins there. I have little aides that make posters and things for me, and they made these posters. And so we put social media out there, because when you put a child out there that they've completed something, we're celebrating them, it kind of puts a little pressure on the other students. Hey, I haven't done that. I want my picture on the social media page as well. And then parents says, well, my daughter's picture is not up there, or my son's picture is not up there. So let me call Miss Dean and find out what's going on. So that kind of is a innovative way to put a little pressure on the other parents to help me get that done. The picture on the left is some parents there actually working on the computer, completing their FAFSA. So next slide, please. I also make a spreadsheet. I put on that spreadsheet all the students' names, and then I do a check mark. Every time I get a FAFSA ID completed, then I put a check mark beside it. And then when we do the FAFSA completion, I put a check mark by it so that I can compare that with my percentages on the Alabama for Possible website dashboard, and I can also compare it with the AIC. One thing that I have to keep in mind is that I have students that are from Mississippi that are in my school, because we live right on the border and there's no school in the little town next to where we live. So those kids all bus over to my high school. So their names and their figures are never on the completion for either the dashboard for college, for Alabama Made Possible, or for the AIC. So my numbers are a little higher than what is projected. I make the goal every year to be 100%. Of course, I know we'll never reach that. This year was the closest year I had gotten. I had 2 parents that absolutely refused to do it. So what I did with those 2 kids is I brought them in and completed it until that portion where it asked that question for the parents' information. And we just marked that we weren't able to provide that, hoping that the financial aid office then can help that student once they get to Bevel. Or whatever college they're attending to, can help the student finish it or find a way to finish it. I also take pictures and put on social media. You saw that. And I use the Cash for College resources, whether it's Why Apply, I printed those posters off. If you'll go to the next slide, the National Guard, if any of you have got a good relationship with them, they will make free posters for you. I didn't have to pay for anything for these. So I do it one time, I use it from October 1st on, and then I roll it up, put it in my storage box, and then bring it back out the next October. So I just have a nice, beautiful sign, and I keep it hung up so the kids can see it as a reminder. It's like, oh, have I done that? Have I seen Miss Dean? Did we get that completed? And like I said, it's free. So take advantage of that. Next slide. That's one of the resources that I pull and put outside my office. It's that little thermometer there. So I color it in and let the kids know, come on, we've got to get to 100%. And we work towards that. And then I always like to check the other counties to see if I'm ahead, because I'm a little bit competitive. I was never an athlete in school, but my competition is with all the other counselors in the county. So that's my state championship ring. It's when I get to see that I'm green and everybody else is not. So I'm really proud of that. And I worked really hard. And like I said, I am retired, but I am still very much have a huge heart for Alabama and very compassionate about what I do. And I would not be as good as I am without Alabama Made Possible, because they made me understand the importance of this work for my students, because I come from a very poor community with a lot of first generation college going kids. And with your help, I've been able to create, and I hope I've left a legacy where the new counselor will come in and take over for me, and that their college going culture will stay and be vibrant, and that I'll always see Lamar County in green. And I'm here to help anybody that wants any help. Like I said, my compassion is for this work, and I'm not ready to quit totally yet, even though I'm retired. So if anybody needs me, I'm here for you. And thank you again for awarding me the MVP award.
Thank you, Kathy. And just because you're retired doesn't mean you won't hear from us. We will be in touch. We will be in touch. And thank you for all these years that you've supported every thing that we have done, every event we have organized, and for supporting all your students and their families in your school. So thank you.
Thank you.
So next, before I invite Amber to present, I would like to invite Zach Weidlich, Communications Director for Congressman Jerry Hall, to say a few words. I actually don't see him. Yeah, I think he was here, but I think he might have logged off. Oh, no, we can't hear you, Zach.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Hey,
yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry for the difficulties there. The congressman wishes he could be here today. Education's big to him. He'll actually joke he's surrounded by teachers. His wife's a former teacher. His daughter's a kindergarten teacher, and his daughter-in-law's a teacher as well. So he understands all the work that y'all do and the importance of it. But I'm here today on his behalf to congratulate Spanish Fort High School for their success last year in increasing their FAFSA completion rates. And I believe Miss Amber, who's on the call today, wanted to congratulate her as well for that hard work there. The congressman just wanted to thank all of you for your hard work on behalf of students all across Alabama. Obviously, the past year and a half has been tough for y'all and the students with the pandemic, but we're coming through, and I think we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel there. But thanks to teachers like Miss Amber, students all over Alabama, but especially the first district, are on the road to brighter futures, and we know they'll have more post-secondary education opportunities.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing us the message from the Congressman's office.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Amber Ergel to present on behalf of Spanish Fort High School. Amber.
Hi, thank you so much. And I appreciate what Zach said. My name is Amber Ergel, and I'm the senior counselor at Spanish Fort High School. I've been there for about 5 years and love every minute of being a senior counselor. It's very exciting. So what I try to do is I try to start with communication as soon as possible. I start really early within the first couple of weeks of school. I usually work really well with my senior government and economics teachers. And so I try to get in the first couple of weeks of school, and I have what we call red folders, because I always put all the information in a red folder, and it's pretty much everything a senior needs to know goes into that red folder. But one of the main things towards financial aid that I put in that red folder is I give an example worksheet of the FAFSA and what it exactly looks like. So that's one of the things that I put in there. And then another thing I put in there is the flyer for college application campaign week and when it will be and everything in there. So, and so I also tried to start talking about, I use that to talk about financial aid language for a lot of students. If they're the oldest one in their, family, and the first one going to college, they might not know what Pell Grant means or what work study is or anything like that. And so I try to do a little education on that financial aid language, and then the benefits of FAFSA and what it can do for them, and try to educate them that even if they don't qualify for a Pell Grant, a lot of colleges require them to do the FAFSA anyway. And so going ahead and getting that done is important just for those purposes as well. I do a monthly newsletter to parents and students. So every single month they're getting financial aid information. They're getting the definition. They're getting links to the FAFSA ID, the FAFSA application, the requirements and all of that. So they're getting that monthly as well. I email parents directly just about financial aid right before that October 1 date of it opening. I promote the October 1 opening date on social media, and actually the Alabama Goes to College is super helpful with that. So I can just kind of share those things on social media. So that makes it really easy for me, and I appreciate that. And then I promoted the FAFSA. I promoted the FAFSA community workshops via email and social media. That way, we usually do have a FAFSA night where I'll bring in the local community colleges and they help, but this year we were not able to do that. But they did hold several of them via social media or via Zoom and things like that for the workshop. So I did heavily promote those in my emails and through social media as well. All right, next is accessibility. I try to be as accessible to parents as I possibly can be, either meeting with them through a phone call, through email. And also we have a career coach. Her name is Kelly Isabel, and she is absolutely amazing and such a helpful resource and a luxury it's a luxury to have her. She was able to help me with this. And so we made ourselves available as much as we could. And my career coach was actually able to speak with over 50 families over the course of the year, helping me with that in addition to the families that I spoke with. I have Google Classroom, and Google Classroom is I use it as my counseling resource. I have everything in there from scholarships to financial aid information being the most important one. And so parents and students have 24-hour access to that information. So in my Google Classroom, I have links to the FSA ID. I have links to the FAFSA application itself. I have a link to a video that they can watch, exactly, all of those things. And so I have links to all of that, and they can access that anytime that they want. And then also I do a huge push during the Alabama College Application Campaign Week. That's actually one of my favorite weeks of school. I think it's so fun, and I love promoting that. But that also is just one more time that I get out there face to face with them and talk about, okay, now that we've applied, we've also got to do FAFSA, and talking about that. My whole staff, actually, all of the the counselors help, the career coach helps with that week. And then I get the entire faculty involved during that week as well. You know, it allows them to wear their alumni sweatshirts or t-shirts and all of that. And I put little signs outside their door of where they graduated from and ask kids to ask them questions about that. And so I do. And then I also have a college and career center that I was able to set up this year. So I'm super excited about that. And I was able to have kids come in there and meet with me. And so during that week, I go into the government and economics teachers' rooms, but any other time during lunch, and then any day I was not in their rooms, I was in this college and career center with our career coach, meeting with students and just available literally all day long during that week. So, and then just providing them with what they need. You know, I gave that example worksheet so they can at least look at it and see what's going to be asked of them. So when they get in there, it's not a huge, you know, a surprise to what it looks like. In the monthly newsletters, I provide direct links to all of these things. So not only is it in my Google Classroom that they can access, it is in every monthly newsletter that I have sent them, so that they can go back and look at that. Provided a list of needed materials to complete the FAFSA application, you know, saying, okay, gather all of these materials right before you start, set aside at least 45 minutes, give yourself time to do this, just so that they know what they need to have to complete it, and then the time expected to complete it. Provide a quick video of an overview of FAFSA. You know, sometimes people want to just see what it's about and all of that. And YouTube has some really good videos on FAFSA completion and things like that as well. So, all right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thankful to be here.
Thank you, Amber. Thank you for sharing your strategies. We appreciate all the work that you do. And thank you for acknowledging your career coach too. We do understand career coaches are also a very important part of FAFSA completion, and they assist their students along with the counselors. So next, I would like to invite Helen Thrasher and Anna Castleberry from West Limestone High School to present.
Good afternoon. Like everyone else was saying, we start early. We start in August. I do basically what I call a senior exit interview. I go completely over all their credits that they've earned in high school, what they need to complete. Some of them forget that those general electives they need for graduation. Then I discuss if I'm tracking them on the honor diploma or on the standard and what they need to do to complete that. And then we move on to what their goals are. Are they looking to go to a trade school? Are they looking to go to work, the military, or a four-year college? At this point, Anna Castleberry, who is my career coach, is absolutely awesome. Helps me so much at this point because we land up dividing the students into the separate stacks depending on what their goals were. And of course, the undecided is where we really dive into that group. Working with them, we go over the careers, we bring in the CUDA assessments, bring back their ASVAB results, spend a lot of time with that. We're a very small rural high school in North Alabama. So if a lot of our parents are in agriculture or are independent contractors, so the FAFSA is kind of scary to the parents because a lot of them are self-employed and, frankly, scared what's going to happen, with the government looking into their finances. So a lot of it we have kind of uncovered is educating the parents, being there with them, mentoring them, holding their hand. The biggest difference this year that I feel that was made was we actually called each parent and set up a specific time for them to come in, just like scheduling a doctor appointments. So we had 4 to 6 different FAFSA events. And so we would schedule them 45 minutes apart. And then the day before, we would call back the parents, reminding them of their appointment and the scheduled time. I also wanted to add that Anna Castleberry, my wonderful career coach, is expecting a baby and going to be out in the end of August. So I wanted to reach out to Kathy Dean. Kathy, it sounds like you're very close to me. We're in Limestone County. So feel free to come visit. Thank you.
Oh, I would love that. I would love to come volunteer. You just email me anytime.
Okay, sure will. Do you have anything to add, Anna? Okay, so that's what, yeah, basically what it was, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you, Helen and Anna. Thank you for your presentation, and congratulations, Anna, on your pregnancy. And when are you due?
Thank you. I'm due anywhere between the very end of August, beginning of September. So unfortunately, I'm going to be out during the very vital time for seniors this year. So definitely looking for people to come in, volunteers to help out my counselors, because
Kathy.
Yeah, Miss Dean, if you're in the Athens area, we'd love for your help. You sound absolutely amazing. But
I do live in Athens, and I'm going to put my information in the chat box. Okay.
Okay. I will be getting that. Yes, thank you so much. But we're excited. So thank y'all. Thank you for letting us present.
Thank you, and wish you all the very best. So next, I again have a congratulatory note from Congressman Barry Moore before I invite a presenter. So this is to Genesis Innovative School. Dear Genesis Innovative School, please allow me to congratulate you on being named as one of the top high schools in the state of Alabama for the most improved free application for federal student aid, FAFSA completion rate. Achieving such a high FAFSA rate is a true testament to your school and staff's hard work and dedication. I have no doubt that that work you expended to achieve this designation will be of true value to your students in their future endeavors. When your students look back on their time in high school, I am sure that they will remember the amazing educators, mentors, and advisors they had along the way. You are truly preparing the next generation of leaders, and the 2nd Congressional District of Alabama is blessed to have you serving your community. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me if I can be of service to you in the future, and best of luck with the school year ahead. Sincerely, signed, Barry Moore, Member of Congress. And now I would like to invite the principal of Genesis Innovative School, Mary Ann Danford, to present.
Yes. Hello and good afternoon. Thank you so much for this honor. It really kind of shocked us. I'm very blessed to have a wonderful school counselor and a senior student mentor that work with me with the seniors, and our goal is just to help children. And so when something like this happens and we realize that the hard work that we've done, that it actually pays off in other ways, it's just so rewarding. We are a little bit of a different type school than what the other schools that have presented have been. We are actually a statewide public kindergarten through 12th grade advanced ed accredited virtual school. And we are a public school within the district of Connecticut County School, which is located in Evergreen, Alabama. This year was actually, because we're still a fairly new school, this was just our 4th graduating class. Our first graduating class was in 2017, 2018. We had 31 students, and then we gradually increased to 40. And this year we were up to, for our 2021 graduating class, 62 students. And all of those students, we had students ranging from Huntsville all the way down to Gulf Shores. So 3 of them were local students that lived there in Conecuh County Schools. So we had a little bit of an extra challenge of trying to reach all of these students all across the state of Alabama. And so I'm just going to share with you today some of the strategies that we did and some barriers that we had to overcome to be able to reach our students. And it has been so nice to be the last person presenting, because I've learned many things from the other presenters, along with I have had validation that's of some of the things that we were doing, others are doing too. So that was awesome. But like I said, 62 of our seniors spread out all over the state. One of the things that we had to do to be able to get the students to, or the students and the parents, the families to complete the FAFSA is, I firmly believe that people don't do what they don't understand. So one of our biggest things that we did is that in the beginning was we were trying to help the parents and the students understand what was the FAFSA and why they needed to complete it, because they didn't see the purpose. But once they could see the what and the why, it was like, okay, we understand this now. We understand the purpose. We are open to doing this. And then we provided, just like the other schools did, assistance with completing the FAFSA. However, our way of providing assistance might look a little bit different than what some of the other schools did from the traditional setting. So if you'll please advance to the next slide. Some of the strategies, and this is one that we've seen all across the board from all the schools, is communicate, communicate, and communicate. In fact, I felt like sometimes I was just saturating them in communication. But what we always did is I would always send out the first set of communication as the principal. My role was constantly communicating and sending information to the parents and the guardians in regards to FAFSA completion, college applications, scholarships, other financial aid resources. So my communication was basically to the parents, and that communication would occur through email, social media, phone calls, video conferences. Then my wonderful school counselor, Ms. Linda Cook, she would then follow up, or she would basically send the exact same information that I had sent to the parents and the guardians to the students. So she targeted them, all of the same information. And then lastly, we are so fortunate to have what we call a senior student mentor. Her name's Ms. Jennifer Hancock. And she is basically our liaison between the school and the homes. And she would follow up with additional phone calls, emails, video conferences to both the parents, guardians, and the students. So it was a constant cycle of communication. And I really sometimes wonder if, because of that constant cycle of communication, if the buy-in really did come from them understanding the what and the why, or the let's get this done because they're going to keep on calling us. But they knew that we loved their children and we wanted to help provide for them the best that we could. Okay, if you'll advance. We did a lot of, we video conferenced with several parents, because with only 3 of our 62 seniors living there within the district where we were housed, it was very hard to meet in a physical location to offer assistance in completing the FAFSA. So we would do basically Zooms like we're doing right now, or Google Meets, and share our screens, and we would walk them through like that. And it's really been amazing this year. how the pandemic has pushed us towards, you know, more of the video conferencing and such, and you can get just as much done with it. And talking about the Alabama Goes to College webpage, we sent the parents there a lot too, because there was a lot of information there for them. We sent out information about the FAFSA webinars to have them participate in those. We participated in both rounds of Alabama's Free College application week. We encouraged our children to have a plan for what they wanted to do after graduation, because without a plan, it's only a dream. So helping them to develop that plan is what their next steps were going to be. If you'll advance. But again, going back to this, and I might have taken this a little, I wouldn't say too far, but I was very fervent in making sure the parents knew this. Is one of the biggest points that we tried to ingrain in the parents and the guardians and the students is that one of the very first questions, almost all scholarship applications, that question is, have you completed the FAFSA? And I would always try to connect to them, not only as their child's principal, but as a mother too. I had a daughter that was a senior this past year. And so I was doing all this stuff with her too. I've been doing this for several years, but this was my first go around as a parent, going through this whole process. I learned so much. And I think that's one thing in building the relationships and the trust with the parents, because my counselor, her daughter had been through it the year before, and our senior student mentor, her niece was going through it and she was helping her. So we were in the process in the trenches with them, and that helped develop that trust relationship. But basically, all this translated into my last bullet is I would ask the children and their parents, I would say, now, do you have enough money saved up to pay for everything for college? And 90% of them would say, no, we're just going to apply and get a scholarship. And I said, okay, that's awesome. Let's look at your ACT score. Let's look at everything. And I wasn't discouraging them by any means, but I was showing them the fact that when looking at those applications, that question is, have you completed the FAFSA on just about every single application? I also used the term that I heard one of the other presenters earlier in the presentation say, is that about with the Pell Grant, it's gift aid. You don't have to give that back. And you don't know what you're going to qualify for, or you might think you're not going to qualify for anything, but once you apply, you will know one way or the other. And that was one of the most encouraging things, because so many of our students that did apply, they qualified for things that they didn't think they would qualify for had they not done it, had they not completed the FAFSA. And then also, because of the percentage y'all shared earlier, more the students that complete the FAFSA, they are 92% more likely to attend school in the fall, is it really got their head thinking and being more serious about their post-secondary plan. They applied for more scholarships. It helped get their head in the, I guess you could say, in the zone, in the right playing field. But I just kept telling them, and that might not be a fully true statement that I use, but I would just tell them, no completed FAFSA, you might be looking at no scholarships. What's it going to hurt? And when I would put it to them that way, they would be, okay, so it's not going to hurt me. And I would say, no, it's not going to hurt you. If anything, it could help you. And that's where we got the buy-in. So next slide. And so I'm pleased with what we did last year, but I am not pleased to the point of we're not where we need to be yet. We have plans for this year. One of the things that we're going ahead now, because we keep in communication with our parents all throughout the summer, is I'm already starting to share with them now about the documents, the things they need to get together for the FAFSA. I am already letting them know now that next year FAFSA will be a requirement for graduation. So it's not an option. We're going to have to do it. And this year, my motto is going to be the second bullet. High school graduation equals earning your required graduation credits plus FAFSA completion. Oh, and I do need to add, and plus passing the civics exam. That's also required, but that's going to be our equation, and that's going to be our catchphrase for this year with our seniors, is it's not just getting your credits, but we've got to get that FAFSA filled out. We're going to start, instead of waiting until the school year begins, for our seniors, we're going to go ahead and start sending out our timelines and planning tools to our parents and guardians and students starting mid to late July, because we want to get that, and when I say college mindset, I'm meaning post-secondary education plans, because I am a firm believer that whether you're going to a four-year university, a community college, a technical college, it doesn't matter which, as long as you're going to the post-secondary institution that you need to accomplish what your education goals are to make you a valuable member within the workforce. And this year, we're also going to be setting monthly completion goals, checking in with those students, making sure that they're completing them, because we have to get them in that mindset, and also building in the mindset that they are moving into a competitive world. So they've got to get this stuff done to be able to get out there and to compete in this world. Next slide, please. And then our very last strategy for where we go from here is, it's taken us a while to get to this point, because with us being a new school, the first few years was just getting our kids to make sure they have their credits, they were ready to graduate, but to truly create that college mindset, we want to do a much better job of keeping up with, going onto the website, who has completed it, who hasn't completed it, providing any additional support that the students need, know what their plan for after graduation is, and things of that nature. And one last thing I did forget to, I forgot to throw out there, is that we did have some times that we were able to meet with our seniors to help them complete the FAFSA. We would, when we had to give the work keys to our seniors, we had 6 different geographical locations to where we would administer the work keys. Well, the first half of the day, they would do the work keys, but then as the students were testing, I was outside the testing room, and I would meet with the parents. I would assist them in completing the FAFSA. If the parents sent the information with the child, then we would stay in the afternoons. We would hold workshops with the students and help them get those things completed. So basically, what I have to say that helped us to get to the point to where we are growing and getting this done is developing relationships, communicating, and setting that level of expectation, because students will either rise or fall to your level of expectation. And we've had a high level of expectation, but we are going to increase that tremendously for this upcoming school year. And again, I just thank you so much for letting us be able to be a part of this today. I have learned so much. And again, I just thank y'all for the work that you're doing, because this is amazing.
Thank you, Marianne. It is always exciting to see the principal of the school so actively involved, in creating a college-going culture and FAFSA completion. So thank you. Before we go ahead, May, will you please share the slide from West Limestone High School that said, use your career coach? All right. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite our fellow Taylor Fields to give closing remarks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor Fields, and I'm a senior at Birmingham Southern College. I have the pleasure of interning with Alabama Possible this summer through the HES Fellowship Program at Birmingham Southern. I would like to thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to join us to celebrate the amazing things you have done this school year. We all know that being in school during the pandemic was difficult on both students and their supporters. Virtual teaching has created some obstacles, but you and your students overcame them. We would like to thank you for your perseverance, hard work, and dedication to your students. With all the challenges that we have faced this year, supporting your students on their journey to college is something that they will never forget. So with that being said, thank you. And one final note, everyone here will receive an end of the year survey via email. We value your opinions and suggestions, and we use them to help us better support you. The survey should take no longer than 10 minutes to complete, so we appreciate any and all the feedback given. Again, thank you, and you all have a wonderful day.
Again, thank you, everyone. Oh
no, go ahead.
Thank you, everyone, for attending this event, and we appreciate everything that you do. May, go ahead with the next steps.
Yeah, just a few things before we close out. And we know that you are entering your well-deserved summer break, but we are already looking forward to next year's annual campaign. So like Taylor mentioned, we have a brief 10-minute survey, and we will use all of the details you provide in that survey to shape and inform next year's campaign. So please feel free to give us all the feedback that you have from the past year. Also, just want to remind you to be on the lookout for registration for next year's campaign. That will be coming in the next few months. And then be on the lookout for opportunities such as conferences, trainings, and workshops that are taking place later this summer and then in early fall as well. So I'll have on the next slide some of those opportunities. Of course, if you haven't already, please connect with us on social media, both for ideas and resource sharing. We want to keep the conversation going, so you can do that by using hashtags like AL Goes to College and hashtag FAFSA, hashtag PellYes. And so the upcoming training opportunities, I will invite Dr. Mack to join me in announcing some of these as well.
Before I do that, I wanted to do a couple of acknowledgements, if that's okay. Genesis Innovation School, they also had 100% of their seniors to participate in the college application campaign. They were omitted from the list, so I do apologize for that. And I also want to recognize Dr. Willetta Connor. I think she's still on the call. Willetta has been instrumental in helping with this college application campaign from the very beginning. And she has turned it over to me. So I hope I can do half of the job that she has done. And I just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you so much for helping me through this process. So upcoming trainings, we have Mega Conference, which will be held July 12th through 16th in Mobile. There is a virtual option as well as a face-to-face option. We have school counselor workshops. Allegro will have those workshops. One will be held in Montgomery on July 20th, and one will be in Huntsville on July 22nd. So information will go out today to school counselors so that you can register for that event. The Alabama Career Tech Conference will be held July 26th through 29th, and it is virtual. And then we will also do our New School Counselor and Career Coach Academy again this year. The date has been pushed back because there's so much going on in July. So we will keep you updated on the dates for that as soon as they have been determined.
And then in terms of Alabama Goes to College workshops, in August, we will have a step-by-step FAFSA completion training workshop. And then we will have our annual campaign kickoff for the 2021-2022 school year up in August. So things to look out for. We will announce all of these via email. So of course, get your rest, take your well-deserved break, but then look for those emails from us as we start next year. But I want to thank everyone so much for your attendance today, for your hard work all throughout the school year. We know how important you are to the students in Alabama, so we want to say thank you.
Chandra, one last word from you.
Sure. Listen, I just want to congratulate everyone. I have to say, listening to all the strategies and just feeling the energy from all these educators and counselors that you give to the students. And I don't know, we only got a fraction of that energy. I can only imagine what it feels like for the students in your building. And that is why you all were awarded today, because it resonates. And I want to thank you for sharing your stories and sharing your strategies for others to learn from. I love the energy I was seeing in the chat room, but everyone's congratulating everyone, wanting to know more about strategy. So this just pleased me today to see there's going to be more cross-learning and cross-sharing across the state with those who are leading in this work. And I want to wish you all a well-deserved break over the summer to rejuvenate and refresh yourselves, because I know this year is going to be even more exciting. You have all your students possibly coming back to the building. And it's just, you know, I'm just excited for a new year and a new start for all of you. And again, congratulations, and just thank you for all that you do every day for the students across this state. And I wish you well in a restful summer. Thank you so much.